and has been featured on television and in print, Discovery, Nat Geo, Vice, and others. He recently returned from Mogadishu, the most dangerous city on earth, where he shadowed the heroic El Mahmoud women on their quest to clean up the streets and restore humanity to their war-torn country. I present to you Sam Hyde, 2070 Paradigm Shift. Sam.
Can I have this water here? Is this anybody's? I'm claiming that right there. All right. Got some notes here. Did I just drop the mic back? Oh, good. Okay. Keep that on me. Otherwise, you guys can't hear me. Give me like 25 seconds here. Give me like 10 more seconds. Oh man, this thing. Can we turn this up a little bit so I don't have to like turn my head into it? Can you like, how about now? Test. Hey, there you go. Yeah, I'll talk to you later. You're doing a good job. Oh man, okay. Can we reset the clock so I have another minute extra, please? Thank you. There we go. Okay, hey. I wanted to start sitting down anyway. Guys, pat yourselves on the back right now, okay? Let's do it. Come on. Everybody, I'm not gonna let you stop until I see everybody doing it. Let's pat ourselves on the back. There we go. You two, you're patting each other. That's cheating. You couldn't keep your hands off her, could you? Yeah. Hey, I don't blame you. She is a beauty. Hey guys, that pat on the back right there is for saving the world. I'm looking at young minds right now. You guys are all intelligent. I know that you did good in school. I didn't do that. You especially. You're very smart. Look at us. We're the machine that keeps the world going. Okay? I'd like to start this talk off with a parable, a story, if you will. I was at a college, a second tier, not an Ivy League school, a second choice school. And I was in a class, and there was a student in that class, okay? And the teacher, he was spouting some horrible nonsense about how, it was something about how women's rights are not legitimate, something that everybody knew was false. But if anybody had spoken up, he would have taken extreme joy in failing them, okay? Nobody spoke up. One person raised his voice. One person started talking. The teacher couldn't believe it. The classroom couldn't believe it either. But in the end, he had logic on his side. And at the end of the day, he proved his point. That student was Albert Einstein. And that same sense of childlike play and innocence that we know from Albert Einstein, I can sense it in this room today. TEDx, Dreexel University, Next X. So you got to be thinking to yourselves right now, who's this 22-year-old kid up on stage with a chip on his shoulder and his heart on his sleeve and the world in his eyes? Well, that's a tough question, asking somebody to define who they are. I much prefer to ask, what inspires that person? What inspires you? What inspires you? What inspires you? I want an answer. What inspires you? You better find something, man. Don't worry about it. Possibilities. What inspires me is teaching African refugees how to program JavaScript. What inspires me is finding out how to use maglev trains to get resources to the moon. These are the challenges that tomorrow's going to face, okay? How are we going to get clean drinking water to 2 billion Chinese people? You got an answer? Get inspired. I'm going to be picking on you. The second thing that inspires me are ideas. Ideas are amazing. Ideas are like currency. Ideas are what drives the world. Ideas are what we need to get to the next stage. And not just great inventions like the train, little things like this microphone that enables me to speak to the unwashed masses. TED Talks. TED Talks are another great idea. Where would we be right now? And we have to talk about it because great ideas don't come in all shapes and sizes. 9/11, September 11th. And we're going to use some reverence here and not be silly about this, but look at what they accomplished with no weapons and just 11 guys who didn't even speak English. And that proves that sometimes great ideas are actually horrible ideas. So, I'm Sam Hyde. I'm an important thinker. I'm a creator, innovator, artist, idea. But above all else, I'm a passionate, childlike innovator. I've been all around the globe. I've been all around the globe working on cutting-edge projects of all kinds. And I'm here to ask you one question. Where are we at? Where are we? We've got all this great technology. We've got 7 billion people in the world. And according to UN projections, it's going to go up to 50 billion people. That's a lot of mouths to feed. And I don't think they're going to be able to feed themselves. So we better start coming up with some robots to bridge that gap. The West's sick addiction to fossil fuel is going to make this planet uninhabitable for the future generations. You'll know what I'm talking about if you've seen the movie An Inconvenient Truth. It's essentially what's going on is we're too selfish and we're driving our cars too much. And that's getting nature out of the picture. Now, we looked at the data. And what we found surprised us. What we found, right there, what we found was that culture is a sewer. We've got lewd media. We've got nasty bedroom things on TV. And they're sexualizing young girls, and it's getting to the point where even I have a problem with it. And it shouldn't be that way. Folks, we're all world citizens. We're all world citizens. There we go. We are all world citizens living together with one social contract, one economic future. We're all tied together. There's no more individual anymore. It's just the hive. So we have to stick together. We have to stick together and learn how to share. We have to learn how to share. Now, studies show that we work hard. It's true. Everybody in this room is a hard worker. You're a hard worker. You're a hard worker. You're a hard worker. I know because you're here. Okay? But studies show that we don't play hard enough. We got to play harder. It's because it's that sense of childlike playing that's going to save us in the end. Albert Einstein. But hunger, poverty. Okay, we're on this right now. Can you control the slides? Get on the right slide. Go ahead. It's fine. There we go. Trash economy. Go back. Okay. I was in Rwanda. I was with a little startup you may have heard of, Tesla. Okay? Elon Musk was there, a team of innovators, artists, creators, ideas, thinkers. We were there. And we were giving iPads to this village of Africans. And it was so freaky because, they're so intuitive. You just doop, swipe it, and it works. But these guys, we gave them like 2-hour tutorials, and they couldn't figure out how to use the freaking things. The problem is us. The people in this room right now, the solution is us. The problem is greedy corporations. We do things that matter. New York Times. I'll just skip ahead here. By my calculations, we have 5 years until the world ends. Unless we can start to reverse things like pollution and war. Pollution, war, these are big problems. Fix it now! Close your eyes. Everybody in this room, close your eyes. I'm not going to do anything weird or sensual with you. Close your eyes. We're going to change some minds right now. Everybody close your eyes. Okay, close them. Seal them up. Seal them up good. You, especially you. I want those eyes closed. Get on it. Make sure your friend has her eyes closed too. Now look, this is a pivotal moment in human history. Right now, in this room, Dreexel University, TEDx, NextX. This is the time to be doing this. Take this moment in, breathe deeply, okay? Neurons are firing in your brain right now. You're more alert. You're astrally projecting. You're getting a little bit high on the sound of my voice. I have a nice timbre to it. I know that I'm a good public speaker. You're drinking bulletproof coffee. And you don't even realize you're getting all jagged up in the head listening to my presentation. You're going to remember this forever. 2070, future, now. What? 2070 predictions. The next 50 years are going to be some serious stuff. Seafloor farming. 75% of the world's surface not being used by agriculture. On the seafloor, you're going to have sea beets, sea yams, sea cabbage. Have you ever had a sea salad? Have you ever had sea cheesy baked potatoes that blew your socks off? Because you're going to be. 2070 coming up. Trash economy. The abundance of trash. What are we going to do with it? Are we going to put it on an island? Are we going to make it somebody else's problem? Or are we going to take the initiative and take this problem by the horns? Trash economy. You use cubes of trash as money. Everybody becomes rich. It's a gold rush. Walk with me. Most of the major cities will be replaced with vast pleasure domes used exclusively by the Excelsiites, who are the neo-upper class, while the displaced hordes of lower-class depth grovelers will live underground in tiered cities, endlessly toiling away for nuggets of neoplasmin. Video games are going to get more realistic. Super fuel-efficient vehicles getting 80, 100 miles per gallon. It's not that crazy. You think I'm nuts right now because I'm suggesting something high-tech like that? Flip side of that coin, gas, $10 a gallon. You can't win them all, but we can make do because we're going to have solar power also. Race riots, extreme racial tension and unrest. It's called the knockout game, and eventually white people are going to get tired of playing it. That's all I'm saying. I'll skip that one. We got 2 minutes left? Okay. Playing games with me, huh? Can we get the original 18 minutes back on here? You caught me. I'm unprepared. Now, 2070, due to the massive birth increase, we're going to have a shortage of milk. What this means is the Neo-Earth Good Government League is going to have to genetically modify all humans, male and female, to lactate once a month. Once every month, you're going to be going to a lactation processing center where they'll hook you up to all kinds of weird things. Now, due to some fluke, about 3% of the population produces milk, about 500% as much milk. So they're going to have to be farmed constantly, and it's very painful. But they're going to be rounded up by FEMA, and their milk will serve the greater good. Guys, what's the one problem right now that's not going to be around in 2070? The elderly and the disabled. Because we're just going to kill them. We're just going to kill them. So we looked at the data. We got robots policing the streets. 2070, we got gay marriage. Surprise, surprise, bigots, okay? Sorry, in 2070, gay people are going to be allowed to get married. Get used to it. Make me sick sometimes. SodaStream will do for soda what 3D printing did for assault rifles. And I think you're going to be seeing a whole lot more of these great Apple products. The iMac. You're probably thinking this is some pretty deep stuff, and you're right. State-enforced homosexuality. I don't have a problem with that. It's equal. Facebook as your birth certificate. Mac iPads built into every school desk for every child. 3D printers are kids' toys, and the newest 3D printer, your kid is going to be printing up 3D Muslim Barbie dolls. 2070, gay men have actually developed reproductive organs inside of their area, and a new generation of children are born from inside gay men. What else we got here? Good luck searching for Al-Qaeda on the internet in 2070. You'd have better luck going next door and asking them in person. What else we got here? You are not going to like that one. Nobody's going to like that one. Let's do this here. Can we get one final pat on the back, everybody? Pat yourselves on the back. Please do it. You are going to be the future. That's a good thing. You're going places, kid. You're going, man, we're so screwed. 2070, Israel, straight up ripped off the map. Bye! Bye, bye! Bye! Not my choice. It's probably what's going to happen. Okay. Anybody else have any predictions? What do you think is going to happen? Now it's time for you, because you are you plural is the star, like YouTube here, like the Time magazine cover. You guys are the star. I'm just some crazy guy. I'm not cool. What predictions do you have? 2070. Make a real one. Let's have something real here. You don't know that. I'm going to have your mind uploaded to my BlackBerry. You'll be here. You'll be cryogenically frozen. I know it. Anybody have any predictions? What do you think is going to happen in 2070?
I think it's going to be better than what we have right now.
I think there can't possibly be anything worse than what we have right now.
Which implies it's going to be better.
Hey, man.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me here.
Thank you.
What do you want me to walk through here?
Right here.
Okay.
For the final Q&A, I would like to call upon Paul Richards and Larissa Milne. Thank you. Can we have some chairs, please? We got it, sir. Okay. I got it. We got one more. Right here. And we'll have a microphone available for the volunteer. Right there. Can we get a microphone for the speakers? There. Thank you, Mohammed. So I'm sure we have a lot of questions. Let's begin. So, who is going first? Right there? Okay, we have one. Good, next.
This question's for Mr. Richards. I was wondering, did you ever have any doubts or concerns in your career goals that hindered your progress at all?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it wasn't, I thought at some times that, I did get discouraged and that, I might not make it, but typically every day I woke up and said, my mantra when I woke up in the morning was, what can I do today to be an astronaut? And I did that basically almost every day from college through I was selected at 33. But there were days when I thought, I might not get selected, but when I look back at the path I had been, getting a pilot's license, scuba diving, working Hubble, designing tools, it was a pretty good path. So, I said, it brought me in a great direction, and had I not gotten selected, I would have had a pretty good journey as well.
Okay, who's next?
We have one here.
Mr. Richards, is it true that your back hurts in space?
Once you throw the individual into the equation, humans are the toughest thing about studying space science because every individual does something different. I grew probably about 3/4 of an inch to an inch because when you're in free fall, the lack of pull on your body expands all the gaps between your bones. So like for instance, when I went on the spacewalk, the suit was adjusted for how tall I was going to be, not how tall I was on Earth. I didn't experience any back pain, but other people do. Your body goes through a lot of different changes, and that's what we study. For the rest of my life, I go down to the Johnson Space Center once a year, and get physicals because I'm part of a long-term study on the effects of spaceflight on humans. So, and that's the toughest part, is trying to learn. That's what Space Station is doing. That's what they've been doing since Mercury up until now in Space Station, is trying to figure out what are the effects on the human body of space travel. And that's going to probably get us to go back to the moon for a permanent presence, go to Mars for the first time.
We have right there.
This question is for the world traveler. What did you do for financial situation while you were running across the globe? Did you take odd jobs or have a savings account or just not spend money?
We had sold our house prior to traveling. It was a house we had lived in for 20 years, so we used part of the proceeds of that. And now we continue, as we work on our writing, that helps to support us.
We have a question right here. Okay.
This is for Mr. Hyde. Obviously, your presentation made a big impact on all of us, but I'd like to know what messages that you'd like us to take away from that exactly.
I don't know, man. I guess that's up to you. That, I don't know. It's nothing. It's just a bunch of crap.
So this is for Mr. Richards. It's kind of a two-part thing, if I may. So can you describe kind of how that felt when you were going up on the shuttle for the first time and you realized that you were about to accomplish what you had been dreaming about since you were a little kid? And number two, this might be a little weird question, I don't know, but so I read the book Andromeda Strain, and it was about the decontamination of all the space flights because they were concerned that you would bring back some kind of virus or bacterium or whatever it may be. I was wondering if NASA actually, was very vigilant about that sort of thing.
For the first question on what it felt like, part of the training NASA wants you to go through is to train the surprise out of you. You do things over and over again until sometimes I couldn't differentiate if something really happened on the ground in a simulation or actually happened in orbit. So somebody said, what went through my mind, during the ascent? I was a flight engineer, MS2, and it was 102, 102, auto, LVLH, good digitals. Next roll program, and I went down my checklist. And that's what I trained to do over and over again, because as you're training for the 8 months, you're in the simulator and, you'll be going through the training and then you think, okay, I got to go to Home Depot, got to get milk. No, okay. And you have to focus. And by the end of 8 months, you're so focused on your job and what you're doing, your peripheral vision opens up. Things are actually brighter. You can see things over. I can see a fuse blowing out of the 3,500 circuits over in the corner and know which one. And so they train you for 8 months to be at that height. And I was so at that height that, the 8.5 minute ride to space, we didn't have to do what's called the orbital maneuvering 1 burn. The OMS 1 burn was not required, so we had to do another burn to circularize our orbit in 45 minutes. So I started doing the calculations, and the pilot, who was also a rookie, a classmate of mine in Vegas, he's like, Paul, that can wait. We're in space. Come on, look out the window. I was like, oh, I forgot, So I floated over to the window, and I looked down. So 9 minutes earlier, I was in Cape Canaveral, and now I'm over the northern section of Italy looking at the Alps at noon. And we launched at sunrise. And my first realization was just looking down at these pristine mountains, snow-covered mountains with the sun glistening on them, and it just looked like there's no humans down there. This is a pristine planet. It was just amazing. And then the other views, I was an Earth viewer. I really always look down at the Earth. And I was telling somebody else in the audience that there's a great dichotomy. Parts of the Earth, when you look down, looks like nobody's here. In other parts, you can definitely tell humans are here. You can see smoke coming out of power plants. You can see sediment going hundreds of miles into the ocean from a river and swirling around. So I think when looking down at Earth is the part that they don't train you for. And so that's when I really realized, and that's what I get the feeling that I'm really up here. Otherwise, when you're doing your job, working with the equipment, it's pretty much like you're in a simulation, and that's what they want to train out of you.
We have a question there.
Yeah, I have a question for Mr. Richard. So, what do you think will be the future of the space program? In other words, what's going to be the next step?
I don't know. I think, I think we have to have something that, politically motivates the country to actually do the exploration. History shows that the countries that explore have the highest standard of living. When you go back to China, Portugal, Spain, the British Empire, and now the United States. So it'd be a shame that we stop exploring, but unfortunately NASA's always been a political machine, and space exploration has always been a political pawn in the game of politics. So until we get that next reason to do something, whether it's China putting a base on the moon and we're competing against them, or competing with them. It can be almost anything, but I think that's the foundation that we need. So I think we will still explore planetary, like Maven's going up soon to look at Mars, and there'll be lots of other exploration and finding out about Earth. But for human exploration, I don't know the next X.
One last question. Right here.
My question is for Larissa. I was wondering if there's any country that you visited or area that you visited that was radically different from what you expected. Or part two is there anything really left on your bucket list, an area that you really want to go to?
Well, I'll answer the first one first so that my brain can think about the second one. One country that we did not visit on this particular trip was Japan, which was definitely high on our list. And the main reason for that was right around the time we were planning to leave was shortly after the tsunami, and everything was just very turbulent there. So we struck it from our list for the time being, and by the time things had settled there, we were already way on the other side of the earth. So we did not go there. So that's definitely high on our list. As far as countries surprising us, probably the country that surprised us the most, and that's a very good question, by the way, was Namibia in Africa. We had long wanted to go to Africa, but didn't want to go somewhere where we would have to take large group tours because of safety and what have you. And to our surprise, we learned about Namibia as we were going in our travels. It's a very safe country. The people are incredibly warm. And we did a self-drive safari there. We drove around ourselves and were perfectly safe and really loved it and would go back there in a heartbeat.
I have a final question. So you travel around the world. You've been outside the world. There is one common factor in both of them. You're away from a lot of people that you might know, both of you, for a very longer time. How do you deal with that? Because there is a need at the end of the day to be around the people we care about, we love about. Both of you, just final closing remarks.
Okay, well, I can't speak about Skype in space, but it does exist still on Earth, so that was a big help for us. We stayed in touch with family and friends that way. We also had my husband's mother met us at one point in Italy, so we spent about a week with her there. And then actually the first thing that we did when we returned from our trip was spend about 3 months going around visiting family and friends. But on the flip side of that, the other thing that we did do, because we realized as we were traveling, if it was just the two of us traveling together, typically on vacation, we would speak to each other. We wouldn't really have any need to reach out to other people. But we realized if we were doing that day in, day out, it was going to get pretty boring pretty quickly. So we became much more extroverted about making new friends, and we picked up quite a few new friends around the world that we've continued to stay in touch with today.
Thank you.
There's two types of mission to the space station. I was on a shuttle mission, which is more of a sprint. 12 days, working 18 hours a day.
Correct.
And then there's the folks that are up there for 6 months. I can answer for the sprint going on it. About 3 days before the mission, I kind of got this feeling in my stomach, and I asked my commander, I said, I'm not feeling too well. What's this? He goes, I think you got the butterflies. And I said, geez, I haven't had the butterflies since I kissed Mary Cummings in the 5th grade play. I said, Wex, I'm scared. I definitely want to come home. And I gave myself about a 50-50 chance of coming home. They they give you all the odds, 1 in 270, 1 in 23, they give you all the numbers, but to me it was a yes or no, 50-50. So what he advised was, he goes, all you can do is control the next 10 seconds of your life, whether you're tying your shoe, working on your equipment, watching a video, getting a weather brief, limit your thoughts to 10 seconds in the future. And after about a day and a half I did. He said, forget about your family, forget about your friends, they don't exist. And so, you know, you kind of, me, I had to do that. It was about a day and a half, and I went on with the mission. And then once you're up there, you know, you have 2 letters that you write before you launch. You have a MECO letter and a letter to your family if you don't come home. The MECO is main engine cutoff. And so there's a crew, there's a family escort that's another crew member that's with your family. And so if you successfully make it to orbit in MECO, they hand your family the MECO letter and say, you know, if you're reading this, I made it to space. And then there's another letter saying your goodbyes if you don't come home, that you write before you leave. So it's, you just have to deal with that, and I think the passion of flying in space makes you be able to put that, at least for me, in perspective. And then once we're up there, we did have, we had a family video conference, which I saw, you know, the kids and my wife, and we got 1 or 2 of those, and they would pick up your wake-up songs in the morning. Wow. They would play those. I had Scooby-Doo and the Invaders was my wake-up song. And the space station's a little different. They do have Skype, and they have a lot more connection now, because as we're going out into the universe and going beyond low Earth orbit to the moon, the psychology of space is going to be the psychology of being alone on long journeys is going to be something, as well as the physiology of the body. The psychology of the mind is another aspect we have to think about.
Thank you, sir. So, yes. Thank you. Thank you. We have a final surprise for all of you. It's a performance. It's a performance by the Dreexel Football Comedy Club. We want to end it on a good note. So I welcome to you the Dreexel Football Comedy Club. And the beauty about them is they do not have a script. They're going to improvise everything 100% right here in front of you. Right, they are.
Hi, I'm Ross. I'm the president of the Dreexel football team. As most of you know, there is no real Dreexel football team. We are the improv comedy club. We do free shows on campus, usually twice a term. Edric is in the back.